ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। It is Harihi Om. It is not Hari Om.
Harihi Om.
Yeah, always Visarga sounds bigger. Harihi Om. Grammatically, there is no grammatical proof of that, but Hari Om is not correct. Harihi Om. Okay. You can repeat after me. Vasudevendra Yogindram
Vasudevendra Yogindram
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Tattvabodho Vidiyate
Tattvabodho Vidiyate
Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadhikarinam
Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadhikarinam
Moksha Sadhana Bhutam
Moksha Sadhana Bhutam
Tattva Viveka Prakaram
Tattva Viveka Prakaram
Vakshamaha
Vakshamaha
Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim
Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim
Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha
Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha
Iha Mutrartha Phalabhoga Viragaha
Iha Mutrartha Phalabhoga Viragaha
Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi
Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi
Mumukshutvam Cheti
Mumukshutvam Cheti
Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekakaha
Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha Kaha
Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma
Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma
Tadvyatiriktam Anyat Sarvam Anityam
Tadvyatiriktam Anyata Sarvam Anityam
Ayameva Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha
Ayameva Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha
Viragaha
Viragaha Kaha
Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Ichcharahityam
Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Ichcharahityam.
Okay, you can mute your mic. we are looking into this Viraha. Now we are looking into the second qualification, Viraga. Viragaga or Vairagyam. Both are same, synonymous. Absence of desire of enjoyments here in this world and in the heaven. That is Viragaha. Ragaha, it means desire. Ragaha means desire, which can become a longing after some time. So the means of Viraga, Vairagyam, this passion is Vivekaha. We saw in the last class. Vairagya is a natural consequence of Viveka. If Viveka is there, Vairagyam will be there. If Vairagya is a natural consequence of Viveka, then it is sufficient to mention Viveka alone. Why should Vairagya be separately mentioned? If one has Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, there will be Vairagya. But it need not be necessarily in all the cases. Because of some habitual values, samskara, which a person has gathered over a period of time before coming to Vedanta or in the Purva Janma, one may still want to go for bhoga vastu, enjoyments. You know that something is not good, but still you go in for that. Why? Habitual value, samskara. It is a value which the person has picked up over a period of time, and therefore there is a love, anchoring, a strong, a deep desire for it. That is why Vairagyam is specifically mentioned. Having distinctly examined, analyzed Nitya Vastu and Anitya Vastu, one should reject Nitya Vastu and choose. One should reject Anitya Vastu and choose Nitya Vastu. But because of some deep-rooted value, the samskara, one may go in for Anitya Vastu, which indicates that there is a lack of Vairagyam, lack of objectivity. Therefore, one has to make consciously continuous effort, specific effort to develop Vairagyam. How do you do that? By saying the dosha, the defects in the Vishayas, objects. Anitya Vastu Nishchaya alone may not result in Vairagyam. Anitya Vastu Nishchaya alone may not result in Vairagyam. If one knows Anitya Vastu, it will not free the person from being a seeker. This passion may not come. And he may still continue to be a seeker of Anitya Vastu, Anitya pursuit. Why? Because one doesn't know anything better than Anitya Vastu. He doesn't know Nitya Vastu. One person says, "Sir, I have got enough money, but I don't know anything else better. If I don't make money, I don't know what will happen to me. I will go crazy. I don't have anything to do. Therefore, I make money. Even though I don't require money, yet I have to make money." So people, even though they know it is Anitya, but still they don't have anything better. They don't know it. So they go along with what is Anitya. Because that gives me some pleasure, some self-esteem, some sense of achievement. Others want to achieve and they can't achieve. So they look up to the person who has achieved something. So this person has a sense of satisfaction, and therefore there is a continuation of Anitya pursuit. So one has to know that there is a Nitya Vastu. Only when a person knows that there is a Nitya Vastu, and that has to be known only from the Shastram, then he may choose to go in for Nitya Vastu, dropping all the Anitya Vastu. Then only the Vairagyam may come. One has to know the Nitya Vastu is there. What is the source of knowing that? Only Shastra. So now viragaha kaha. Igasvarga bhogeshu ichha ragityam. Viragaha, dispassion. It refers to ichha ragityam. Ragityam means absence. Absence of or freedom from. Ragityam. Ichha means desire, passion, addiction, slavery, complete, total dependence. That is ichha. So, absence of or freedom from this addiction, the total slavery, the dependence is called viragaha or dispassion or objectivity. So, and this dispassion is with reference to bhogeshu, sense pleasures. Freedom from addiction, freedom from this total dependence, the freedom from slavery to sensory pleasures. That is viraga. These sensory pleasures are divided into two types. For our understanding, we will divide the sensory pleasures into two types. First type is adharmika. Adharmika or immoral sensory pleasures. These are dharma viruddha bhogaha. These are dharma viruddha bhogaha. The enjoyments which are opposed to dharma. The pleasures which are not supported by dharma. These are unethical, immoral sensory pleasures. The second category is ethical, moral sensory pleasures. Dharmika kamaha. Dharmika bhogaha, dharmika kamaha. Shastram says one has to be totally free from adharmika kamaha. One has to be totally free from this adharmika sensory pleasures. Adharmika kamaha should be totally rejected, totally avoided. That is dispassion. With regard to dharmika kamaha, what is dispassion? What is vairagyam? Dispassion is, with regard to dharmika kamaha, dispassion is moderation in indulgence. You are moderate in indulging sensory pleasures. That is dharmika kamaha. The Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. Dukkha. So he says, it talks about the moderation in enjoying the sensory pleasures. Yukta ahara vihara. Agara is eating, vihara is recreation. In both that, one has to be moderate. So these sense pleasures, dharmika kamaha, itself are divided into two types that we saw in the last class. One is ihaloka bhogaha. The other is paraloka bhogaha. Ihalokaha means this world, this life. Paraloka is afterlife. Swarga means heaven. So that is the pleasures what you enjoy in the world now and the pleasures what you will enjoy in future in the other world. That is a combination of both, the present pleasure and the future pleasures. That is dharmika, that is in keeping with dharma, dharmika kamaha. Ichha ragityam, that is the dispassion from the point of view of both. That is viragaha. The rational design insisting upon this qualification is very simple. A person who is addicted to sensory pleasures will end up spending his whole life in the indulgence of such pleasures only. So he will not find time for Vedanta. Where he will find time for Vedanta? An addict will not get time for anything worthwhile pursued in life. And that is why one should not be addicted to anything. A Shastram says that in the final analysis, one should not be addicted even to good things. That is the ultimate freedom. Even the good things are nothing but the bondage in another form. So maybe Vivekananda says that one is the iron chain, other one is the golden chain. Both are chains. Bhagavan Krishna tells in the Gita, at the end of the Gita, even addiction to dharma is a form of addiction. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Ahantva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami mashuchaha. Krishna says that towards the end of the Gita, after teaching Arjuna, giving the whole teaching, he says this at the end of the Gita. If Krishna had said in the beginning, people would have taken advantage of this statement and start following his advice from the beginning itself, giving up all dharmic actions. That is why after teaching, after giving jnanam to Arjuna, after insisting upon the values one has to cultivate, Krishna says at the end of the Gita, Sarvadharman parityajya, you have to give up even the dharma also. You have to totally surrender to me. You have to go beyond that virtue and vice, dharma and adharma. And the right course, so the right course is to start with. The first thing is give up addiction to adharma. One has to start by giving up adharmic activities. How do you give up adharma? The only way by you can give up adharma is practice dharma. Be an addict to dharma. So first try to be a dharmika purusha. That is important. It is a primary step. Without dharma, the individual or the society will perish. Again in the Gita, Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya vyane bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyata. Whenever there is a declension in dharma, Krishna says, I reincarnate myself to protect dharma. How do you protect dharma? Dharma can be protected only when the dharmis are protected. When there are no dharmis, where is dharma? Dharmi means the followers of dharma. Dharma, what is the locus of dharma? The locus of dharma is dharmis. Dharma is located in the people who follows dharma, dharmis. So the dharmis have to be protected. If dharmis are allowed to perish, then dharma will vanish. Therefore, Krishna says, I reincarnate myself to protect the dharmis in order to protect the dharma. At least in those times, this dharma were with the grihastha and the sannyasis. Nowadays, the sannyasa ashrama, it is in the declining stage. People have, even our Hindus, they don't have value for the sannyasa ashrama. Because they don't, the sannyasis don't get that much respect or the reverence which they are supposed to get in the society. Because of some people, some fake sadhus or sannyasis, the sannyasa ashrama itself has got a very bad name. And that too we know in Tamil Nadu what is the condition of sannyasa. See, there are some people who are born sannyasis. They come to the world and they are all Jagat Gurus. They are Punya Atma, like Kanchi Periva, Brahmacharyal, Vivekananda, Swami Dayananda Saraswati. We can name many sadhus. They have a commitment, a mission. So they come as they are born sannyasis, sadhus. But there are other people who are not born sannyasis, but they try to become a sadhu by taking up the life of sannyasa. So they are in the process of becoming a sannyasi. Because they are donning the akar robe doesn't mean they are all sannyasis. They are sannyasis only. They are in the process of becoming a sadhu, sannyasi, a real sannyasi. So whether is a real sannyasi or not, a sadhu is a sadhu. The sannyasi has to be revered upon, should be given the respect. We have one problem here. Generally, if a sannyasi does something wrong or gets into something which is that these people, they immediately note that and they point out and start criticizing the sannyasi. They condemn the sannyasa ashrama. The whole ashrama is being condemned. That is a wrong thing actually. The dharma is not only for the sannyasis, it is for everyone. Even grihastha has got dharma, brahmacharya has got dharma, vanaprastha, every ashrama has got dharma. That are supposed to be followed by the ashrama. That people who are in that particular ashma stage of life. What about Grihastha? Grihastha, they don't have dharma? Can they live in any way they like? No, they have more responsibility. So, if Grihastha does anything wrong, nobody can point out and tell this is against the Grihastha dharma, because they just take it for granted and they live. The Grihastha has got more responsibility, more dharma to be followed. But in the sadhu, it's more conspicuous. You can see that therefore, if the conduct of a sadhu is not good, people immediately point out that and criticize it. No. If the person is in the process of making a sannyasi or a sadhu. Why do I say this? I have seen some sadhus, they are sincere, they're very sincere people. And they struggle to become a sadhu. In the process, they fall, there's a slip. But it is okay, it is fine. But they struggle, they again get up and walk. So that is the thing that we should appreciate. As Hindus, and we all should support that sannyasa ashma. Otherwise, the sannyasa ashma will perish one day. Even now, if you go to Rishikesh, you find the place has become more commercial. Many ashmas, they don't have sadhus. Even in the Kailash ashrama, the number of brahmacharis and sadhus going to attend the classes are becoming less every day. Anyways, this is an aside topic. Why I am saying this, this ashrama has to be protected, the dharmika purusha have to be protected, then only dharma will be there. Dharma is there only in the dharmis. Therefore, to protect the dharma, dharmis have to be protected. Anyway, coming back to our topic. Therefore, we should develop this addiction to dharma. To get rid of this addiction to adharma, we should first develop addiction to dharma. Just like removing one thorn with the help of another thorn. The only way by which we can overcome this adharma is we should subscribe to dharma. We should become a dharmika purusha. And later we have to transcend dharma also. How? Through wisdom, through jnanam. This jnanam, atma-jnanam, self-knowledge only helps us in transcending both dharma and adharma. That is a state of absolute freedom. We must understand that desires as such is not a problem. Kamaha is not a problem. Bhagavan Krishna says in the Gita, Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Dharma aviruddha kamaha agamasti. I am that desire which is in keeping with dharma, not opposed to dharma. So, there is no problem in desires as such. And these desires can be binding or non-binding. Kamaha dvividaha bhavanti. Sangaha asangaha chaiti. So if the desires are non-binding, asangaha, it means you have vairagyam. If the desire, what you have, it is non-binding desire, then it means you have vairagyam. Ye kamaha tvam baddhum na shakyante te asangat kamaha. If they are binding desires, then it means you have to work on it to improve it, to make it non-binding. Yadi te kamaha tvam baddhum shakyante tati tvaya tebhyah kamebhyah sanghat vibhuktaye adhikam prayatna karaniyam. So you have to work a lot to make you free from that binding desires. How do I know that my desires are binding type? If you say that I cannot live without this, then it is a binding desire. It's a clear indication that you don't have objectivity. You add more value to it than what it deserves, and therefore your mind is clouded with a strong attachment for it, and you constantly work to gain it. Therefore your mind is not available for moksha. It is a clean lack of objectivity. When you have objectivity towards your artha kama, dharmartha kama pursuit, then your mind will be available for moksha. So when viveka is there, vairagyam also will be there. When discrimination is there, a clear objectivity also will be there. Then the whole life becomes a yoga. That is yoga. Greater the objectivity, the greater is the commitment to the moksha. Swamiji says, even this marriage, even marriage and other pursuits, they all become yoga. Even marriage can help only when you are objective. Marriage is not the end, it is only the means. When marriage is taken as the end, it will end. This is objectivity. So, Vivek, the viraga, vairagyam means objectivity. Not giving more value than what it deserves. That is vairagyam. Now, the student, he proceeds with the next question. The author has told Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi. It is one of the sadhana chatushtaya. Now the student is asking a question. You can repeat after me. Shamadhi Shatka Sampattikha. Shamadhi Shatka Sampattikha.
Shamadhi sadhana sampattikha.
No. Shamadhi Shatka Sampattikha.
Shamadhi shatka sampattikha.
Not kaha. Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi ka.
Shamadhi shatka sampattihi ka.
Shamaha.
Shamaha.
Damaha.
Damaha.
Uparamaha.
Uparamaha.
We can say Uparamaha or Uparatihi, both are same. Titiksha.
Titiksha.
Shraddha.
Shraddha.
Samadhanam chayiti.
Samadhanam chayiti.
Okay, now we can mute your mic. Shamaha, Damaha, Uparatihi, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam cha iti. Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi ka. That is the question. What is that sixfold inner wealth? Sampattihi means wealth. This is not the external wealth, therefore it has to be inner wealth because we are studying Vedanta. Vedanta for Atma Jnana. So therefore, what is that sixfold inner wealth? Very simple question. Because the author has told when he enlisted the sadhana chatushtayam, he said Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi. The disciple doesn't know what does it mean. So he is asking the question. For that the Acharya, the Guru, gives the answer. The student asking the details of the sixfold wealth, and the author, the Acharya, he answers. Before that, if you are studying Sanskrit, you can see the change in the form of the question. In feminine gender, the word for what is ka, not kaha. Kaha is masculine gender, kim is neuter gender. Here, Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi. Sampattihi is feminine gender. Therefore, it is ka. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. Vivekaha is masculine gender, therefore kaha. Viragha masculine gender, therefore viragha kaha. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha kaha. Here, Sampattihi is feminine gender, therefore ka. It is Pratama Vibhakti Ekavachanam. Sampattihi is Ekavachanam, Pratama Vibhakti, therefore ka is also Pratama Vibhakti Ekavachanam. Sampattihi ka.
Sharanjit, can I ask a question? But Shama is not feminine, right? So even though the last word in the sequence matters,
I'll answer your question at the end of the class. You can note it, right?
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So ka is feminine gender, kaha is masculine, and kim is neuter gender. So the question, it changes according to the gender of the subject. Okay. So now the author says sixfold inner wealth. Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi. The first wealth is Shamaha. Shamaha is the first one that we are going to see in detail today. I'll try to complete that, cover that qualification. Shamaha is mastery over mind. And the second one is damaha. Damaha is mastery over senses, sense organs. Uparatihi or uparamaha, both are same. It is doing one's duty. Uparatihi, doing one's duty. Titiksha. Titiksha is endurance, patience, forbearance. Titiksha. Shraddha. Shraddha is faith. It is more than faith actually. That we will see in detail later. Faith or trust. The last one is samadhanam. Samadhanam is focusing the mind on one thing at a time. Samadhanam. Focusing the mind. That is samadhanam. Concentration. So the third main qualification of sadhana chatushtayam. Sadhana chatushtayam, the third main qualification itself consists of the 6 qualifications, 6 accomplishments. The author enumerated them here. Now each one of them will be defined. So the author has given shamaha, damaha, but he has not explained in what it is. So therefore the student now will ask the question. You can unmute your mic and repeat after me. Shamaha kaha.
Shamaha kaha.
Shamaha kaha.
Mano nigragaha.
Mano nigraha.
Okay, you can mute. So shamaha kaha. Shamaha kaha. Kaha is masculine gender. Ekavachanam. Pratama Bhakti Ekavachanam. Shamaha is masculine. Therefore shamaha kaha. Right? Shamaha kaha. What is shama? The disciple asked. Mano nigragaha. Acharya, the answers is Mano nigragaha. So the first discipline in the 6-fold sampatti, shakka sampatti is shamaha. Shamaha is mastery over mind. The word shamaha, the word shamaha literally means shantihi. The word shamaha means shantihi, peace. It also means samatvam, equanimity. Samatvam. So shamaha means peace of mind, the mental poise, tranquility of the mind. To use the modern terminology, we can say that it means a mind which is free from stress and strain. Stress is a very big problem that we face today. So shamaha means freedom from mental stress. But why do we say freedom from mental stress? Peace of mind is important. Why do we say that peace of mind is important? Because when the mind is stressed or tense or anxious, the mind becomes a burden. It becomes a burden for us. Bharaha. Tamil we say bharam, we say Tamil. So therefore it is said ashantya manaha bharaha. The mind which doesn't have peace of mind, it becomes a burden. Ashantya mano bharaha. So for a person who doesn't have peace of mind, the mind itself becomes a burden. When there is no manashantihi, then the life becomes dull, a dragging life. The life becomes a dragging one. That is why when we ask someone how is life, then the person would say, we hardly find people saying the life is wonderful. Generally, we will hear people say, dragging on, surviving, chalta hai. So, because the very journey of life becomes a burden, it becomes a drudgery for such people. Whereas, the mind which enjoys the peace and freedom from stress, for that person, the mind becomes very light. In such a state of mind, that the journey of life becomes enjoyable. And also only a light mind can be used as an instrument for accomplishing our purushartha, our life goals. The uniqueness of human being is that we have an extraordinary mind. The difference between animals and human beings is that we alone are endowed with a mind which is a wonderful instrument for accomplishing any type of goal, whether it is material goal or spiritual goal. Therefore, the Shastram calls the mind Antak Karanam. Antak Karanam. Antaha means inner. Karanam means instrument, inner instrument. So only a light mind can be handled by us. Only a light mind can be used as an instrument by us to accomplish our goals. So Manashantihi, peace of mind is required first. Even for our survival it is required. What to talk of achieving our goals. This Manashantihi is required for maintaining our physical health also. A person who has stress consistently for a long time is bound to have a lot of varieties of physical problems. Therefore, from the viewpoint of physical health also, one requires a stress-free mind. Not only that, even our intelligence can be effectively utilized only when the mind is calm. When the mind is disturbed, however educated a person may be, however knowledgeable, however rational may be, that knowledge will not be available for that person. The mind is disturbed. Like, a computer which is infected by a virus, though the computer have got a lot of information, but still becomes inaccessible because of the virus. So this stress, this disturbance is the virus. When it is there, our knowledge will not be of use to us. So all our knowledge will be useful only when the mind is calm, the mind is free from this stress. So therefore we need a balanced mind. A balanced mind is a must to use our knowledge effectively. And this peace of mind is required for maintaining our physical health, for the upkeep of our intellectual health, and also for our spiritual journey. Therefore, Shamaha is one of the important qualifications. Bhagavan Krishna says in the Gita that Shantihi alone can give us happiness. Nasti buddhi rayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana. Acha bhava yatas shantihi ashantasya kutas sukam. Ashantasya kutaka sukam bhavati. The one whose mind is not at peace, where is sukam? Where is happiness for him? No happiness is possible for that person when there is no manashanti. So the first discipline in the Shatka Sampatti is mind management. We should learn to enjoy a poised mind. However, here in Tattvabodha, the author, while advocating mind management, he doesn't talk about the method or the process to do that. If you want to come to Vedanta, you must have a balanced mind. It is understood. So Tattvabodha doesn't teach us how to get Shamaha. For that we have to refer again to Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan Krishna himself details the method of mind management, stress management. We will see that later. So this Manaha or mind or Antakharanam, inner equipment, inner instrument, it is an instrument which is to be handled by me, the doer, the subject. The instrument is in the hands of the user. This is an instrument, therefore they are never independent. Like a spoon is there, a spoon by which you eat. A spoon is a karanam, it is used by you. If the spoon begins to do the job by itself, imagine what will happen. You have to go after the spoon. A car is a means for travel. If your car begins to have ride in the morning without you being on the seat, it is a danger. Should you drive according to the will of the car, or the car should run according to your will? So, car is meant for you. You achieve your goals by using the car as you like. If the car becomes independent, then it's a problem. Then both of them end up elsewhere. You turn the wheel to the left and the car turns right. What will happen? You can never reach the destination. Similarly, mind is an instrument, and because mind is an instrument, it has to be my servant. It has to obey me. I should not be a slave of my mind. A mind is a good servant but a bad master if you make it a master. So for success in any field, including the study of Vedanta, Nigraha of this mind is very important. Nigraha. Even to read a simple a news article in the paper, if your focus is not there, if your mind is elsewhere, if your mind is occupied with something, or if you're under some stress, you may read the same column again and again, and you will not get what it is. So even for a simple reading you did, Shamaha. Shamaha is an important qualification. Now, what is not Shamaha? What is not Shamaha? Shamaha is not mind control. Shamaha is not mind control. Shamaha is not thought control. The more you control, the more you get controlled. So controlling the thoughts is disastrous. Thoughts have that certain power. If you control them without understanding about the functioning of the mind, it will destroy the person. So Shamaha is not about controlling your mind. Shamaha is not about absence of thoughts. Some people mistake that mano nigraha means stilling of thoughts or stopping the thoughts. No, it is not possible. It is an impossible task. If mind is there, it is bound to think. That is the nature of the mind. The mind is meant to use as an instrument. The mind is meant to think. With the mind we are supposed to achieve goals in life. Otherwise, why should Bhagavan give mind to us if it has to be permanently shut down? So, if absence of thought is mano nigraha, then what do we need? We need only drugs so that it will keep under sedation all the time. So that is not Shamaha. Then what is Shamaha? Shamaha is certain mental composure, certain tranquility of the mind. That is called mano nigraha. Mind is not mechanical. Mind is not mechanical. Your responses are mechanical. Sorry, your responses. It depends on how you train your mind, whether it is mechanical or not mechanical. Your responses, they are conscious more or less. There may be some mechanical responses. So Shamaha is not being mechanical in our responses at the mental level. Response is conscious. It is a conscious response. The reaction is happening. You don't have any control over it. Action is something you do. Consciously it comes from you. Kartum, in doing. Akartum, in not doing. You have freedom. Shamaha is responding to a situation without a reaction. Therefore, you can stop an undesirable response at the mental level. Once you restrict at the mental level, then it will not manifest at the physical level. That is called Shamaha. To put it in a simple language, we can say that alertness, inner alertness is called Shamaha. In small things, we must practice this Shamaha. Shamaha, it's not a big thing. Life is a series of small things. If you have an alert mind alone will be able to deal with all the things with certain composure. For example, suppose if you have kept the milk on the stove for boiling, it is about to overflow. Now, how do you feel? You have to watch the condition of your mind at the time. It is a situation which requires some action. What is the action? You have to just turn off the stove and cleaning it. Not taking an active attacking mode, not creating a battle scene, not condemning oneself for the situation. That indicates a lack of Shamaha. Another example I'll give. Suppose if you are going for some program, urgent program, and you want to lock the house, and you find the key is not in the place that is supposed to be. So immediately there is a reaction inside. And you create a situation there. And you search for the key all over and you come back and you find the key in the same place. Probably it was covered by something. Now your reaction shows that it is a plain indication of lack of Shamaha. So your response to the situation, your reaction, it is a measure of Shama you have. So Mano Nigraha is mastery over mechanical responses to situation. That is the Shamaha. So taking care of it requires certain discipline and certain alertness. Also, taking care also of certain pressures that I have from within. That also comes under Shamaha. There is some pressure inside that has to go out. Swamiji used to say that this is when you have certain inner pressure, you just take care of it by writing it out, by talking it out. So the psychological pressures from the past, which I carry, it has to be handled. Either we have to write it out or talk it out, or we have to do some self-therapy, so that we are able to have certain composure. We are not carried away by whatever happens in the mind. So when you do that, what happens is there is a certain space between the mind and you, and that is called shamaha. So shamaha, mano nigraha, it means this directing, channelizing the thoughts. The thoughts have to be directed. That is that is an important thing. People generally they complain of the mind moving very fast. Even Arjuna himself complains in the Gita. He says, "Chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramati bhalavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram." Yes, he says nigraham, tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. It moves like an air so fast. How can I have control over it? Suppose if the mind moves slowly, do you know what will happen? Suppose you see a tree and you walk on the road. So now your mind gets loaded with the thought that the tree thought will be there in your mind. Now suddenly you see a water buffalo. Now the next thought should be a water buffalo. Because your mind is slow moving, maybe because of your practice. Now what happened is that the tree thought has not gone away. Now the buffalo has entered. Buffalo thought has come. Tree thought plus buffalo thought. So buffalo is sitting on the tree thought. So it is just like a buffalo sitting on the top of a tree. So you see the buffalo sitting on the top of the tree because you have made the mind move slowly, and now both the thoughts have come together, which is ridiculous, right? Therefore, we cannot complain of mind moving very fast. It is how it is. That is the nature of the mind. In fact, the mind has the ability to clean itself. It is something like a movie frame. It's like a movie camera. You have so many frames in your mind. The mental frames, which is called vritti in Sanskrit. It keeps on changing all the time. So what you see only the mental vrittis. All the time what you see is only the mental vritti. It has to be so quick to see the various things. And it has to be momentary. A vritti cannot stay for more than a moment. Moment is not second. Even it is less than a second, fraction of a second. It occurs and goes away. It is not still. It is moving, continuous movement. The picture is all the time moving. So, vritti is kshanika. Vritti is kshanika, momentary. So, all that you see is vritti. You are not the vritti. I am not the vritti. If that vritti is myself, then I can't see the vritti. I am seeing the vritti all the time, and vrittis keep changing all the time. So, the mind has to be changing. So, therefore, mind moving fast is not a problem. That is how it is, and that is the nature of the mind. Then how to get mano nigraha? Again, the author doesn't say that. In Tattvabodha, it is not covered by the author. But in Gita, it is extensively discussed by Lord Krishna. I'll give some of the things which are discussed in the tradition as well as in the Gita. For Shamaha, the means are all the pujas, what you do. All the puja, the rituals, the fastings, japa, all the religious practices which are known as an act of devotion, bhakti, all kinds of tapas, austerity. These are the means. These are the means to get mano nigraha. For example, Ekadashi fasting is there. Ekadashi fasting is control over your tongue. Some people have to constantly chew something. At least they keep chewing gum. Or eat something every now and then, open the fridge, take out something. I have no mastery over my tongue. So such vrata, the Ekadashi vrata, it helps us overcome this habit. So our tradition, it combines it along with religion and provided for this such compulsory fasting. Getting up at Dharma Muhurta at 4:30 a.m., that is then another discipline. I have no control over myself, so by making it a habit at 4:30 in the morning, Dharma Muhurta. So I have some control over my sleep. Also, there is rituals like Sandhya Vandanam, which are enjoined by the Shastra. To perform that, one has to get up early, so that at the Sandhya Vandanam, at the time of sunrise, one can perform Sandhya Vandanam. To get mastery over sleep, this occasional vrata, like this Mahashivaratri is there, and other festivals are there. So you keep awake the whole night doing puja. Whole night you keep awake. So that is a discipline. That is a certain mastery over your sleep. And the maunam is control over your speech. Some people cannot remain quiet. They have to keep talking with somebody always. There is no control over the organ of speech. In our ashrama, Swamiji used to say that every week, at least once in a week, on Sunday, we should observe maunam. Sunday is the day we don't have classes. So that is the best time for the students to come together. They chat, they talk, they spend the time other than talking on Vedanta. Swamiji rightly said that is the day you should observe maunam. Whatever you have studied all the week, we just keep thinking about it, assimilate those teachings. So you observe maunam. So one has to observe maunam now and then as a regular practice. When you observe maunam, you have an occasion to look at your mind. You have a chance to look at it. Otherwise, you will never look at our mind, our mental thoughts, the pattern of thoughts which comes and goes. Unless you look at your mind, you cannot find what kashayam, what dirts are there. Only when you know, you can make an effort to clean it up. Otherwise, we don't know. All these things will come and go, and we never observe our mind. So, if I can do all these things away from these samsarika thoughts, then it is a tremendous discipline of the mind. So, all the religious disciplines are meant only to discipline our mind. Even when we do Parayanam, simple Parayanam, when you chant the entire Vishnu Sahasranama, or Lalita Sahasranama, or Bhagavad Gita, all the time you are looking at the book consciously and chanting. When you see the book and chanting, your mind should be only in the chanting. It should not go away from the chanting. Even if it goes, it has to come back immediately. So, such Parayana, such chanting, it's a great exercise for Mano Nigraha. Even when you are doing Abhishekam, or when you are watching Abhishekam in the temple, it is a great exercise to focus the mind on the Abhishekam. The mind moves away, again bring it back. So this is Shamaha. Shamaha, which means Mano Nigraha. This Mano Nigraha means mastery over mind. But it is commonly translated as mind control or mind destruction, which is not the right translation. In fact, it is the worst translation. They say mind destruction means Mano Nashaha. Mind cannot be destroyed. It need not be destroyed. If mind is destroyed, then we all become an inert being. Mind is an instrument. Why should it be destroyed? So, Mano Nigraha means it is not mind destruction. It's not Mano Nashaha. That is not the right translation, because mind is not the problem. Person is a problem. The person wants to get rid of the mind to solve the problem, which is absurd. Now, the disciple asks the next question, Damaha Kaha. That we will see in detail in the next class. We will talk some more on Shamaha also in the next class, and continue with the next Samadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, next sixfold inner wealth. With this, we will stop today. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hare Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hare Om.
You can ask me doubts now, not with or anybody.
Yeah, I think I kind of got it. Sampattihi is Strilinga. I understand we say Ka, but there is other words before Samadhi, Shama. So we kind of take that as a Visheshana for the Sampatti. I mean, coming along with it, so that we don't take that into consideration with there being the Pumlinga.
Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is a single word. Okay.
Single word. I see. Okay.
Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. So the whole word is a compound word. Shamadhi, Shatka. Starting from Shama, the six Shatka, six or the Sampatti. So it is so as a whole word, Shamadhi, Shatka, Sampatti is a feminine gender.
Okay. Understand. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
If you have doubts, you can ask me. And before that, I don't know, would you all be having a Christmas vacation? Because
yeah. Family is going to be home. We'll have children, things like that. Probably next Saturday we can skip if it's possible.
Saturday or Monday? I mean, Tattvabodha, or you're talking about Tattvabodha or
today is Monday, right? Monday should be okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking Saturday, Sanskritam class.
Okay. Just I want to know.
That's like a Christmas Eve. Monday I am